So Suchita, let's move to kind of our third part of this series, and that's really about your advice on careers. This is about young professionals that want to make a career in sourcing. So first of all, let's talk about when you think about the role of sourcing, and as young professionals are thinking about it, where do you think it's headed that they could have a long career in it? And then I'm going to talk to you about kind of what resources do you use to make yourself a better leader every day?
Where it is headed. So for me in sourcing, I believe that sourcing is just another management principle and a way of, it is no different than other management principles. So if you can do project management, program management, and I take our strategy, if you're good with that, you could be good in sourcing. So number one, just don't think sourcing equals contracting. That's not the case, right? And so just debunking that myth is very critical. And I think more sourcing leaders should be talking about that. So take that. My foundation, again, is engineering. My foundation was not in supply chain. I've not studied procurement, but I can read. And the way I started off, and when I had to, my first challenge with the contract was, oh my God, it's a contract, but it is reading comprehension and then applying the basics and the principles. So if you have the right foundation and the right mindset, you can do well with sourcing too. Where do you go from it? I think, again, to me, it is the journey. I've been in this for about 10 years now, 2 different companies, very different learning. My journey has expanded from just being into IT sourcing at Northern Trust to here where I can talk facilities outsourcing. I can talk about, HR payroll, finance, shared services, or IT, of course, infrastructure. I did not know what infrastructure outsourcing would look like, but I have had the opportunity to learn R&D. We have, pharmacovigilance work. So the growth is not always upwards. There is growth that comes from just learning and growing in breadth. And I think that is where I find it for me, again, and from what I see with the team, we find that to be more enriching because every day I come in, I'm learning something new. Again, like I said, it is a foundation. There are many transferable skills that you could take from sourcing to a different part of the organization and still be able to run those functions.
I think, Suchita, you talked about it before. You've actually engaged with the stakeholders, whether it's IT or, like you said, pharmacovigilance, to be part of their teams, to learn from them so that you could be a trusted advisor to them and helping them source. So I've definitely observed you do that. Are there other resources you rely on to make yourself a better leader?
Absolutely. Like I said, you have to be able to see the big picture, always know the business. So know that contract does not drive business, business drives contract, and you have to be able to write something and deliver something from a sourcing standpoint for where the business is headed. Every single time that I'm working on, and let's say we are doing an RFP, the stakeholder gives a timeline. There is a natural tendency for sourcing individuals to go like, oh, but that timeline is unreasonable, cannot do it. I always say, we can do it. Why do you need it by then? Because when you don't ask those questions and you don't understand what is business trying to drive towards, you write up a great deal, but what good is the deal if you are not able to, at the end of the day, the patients should receive the medicine on time. And everything that we do, we may be at the end of the link, but we are part of that link. And so how do you make sure that, you're seeing the big picture and you're building towards that, you're enabling business? So I would definitely say that's another resource which you have to go out and keep reading and learning. Don't go in front of your business stakeholders without knowing their business. And I think you and I have chatted about that and you've given me that advice too. So I definitely keep that advice very close in every single interaction. I've also got a market intelligence function. So we do a lot more feeds that comes in constantly. We're reading and taking that reading from the market. That cannot be substituted by just saying, okay, I've got my 5 contracts and I know what to do here. That cannot be substituted. And what you cannot substitute is just the power of relationships across. You talk to industry advisors, people who know the space, other similar leaders in different companies, talking to them, knowing what they are doing. Everybody is there to share with the right protocols, and doing that, I think, keeps me on a little sharp.
Right. Well, Sujit, I think that's great advice. As you said, it's not just about learning and reading. It's also about the relationships that you build through this process that becomes part of your learning. Sujita, thank you so much for making time for us and joining us on this Sourcing.Guru episode. Thanks again.
Thank you, Atul. Always good to talk to you.